Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I bring to you a very important video about how demons secretly attack. Now, this is not from someone sending demons, this is just an ancient enemy that we have always been with since post-flood. This video topic is very sensitive, so if this scares you, you shouldn't watch this video, but just because something doesn't scare you doesn't mean it's not going to be there still. Now, in this video, I teach you about outside of people who use demons to try to attack other people with demons, because those are easily turned back and you can easily break the demon who is sent after you, etc., etc., because some people do use Solomonic magic to attack other people. If you're a person of God, it's very easy to send that back, or the blood of Jesus will cover you, so you don't really have to worry about that. If you're a good person, if you're a legitimately good person and you're following God and you're doing everything right, you don't have to worry about that, but you should still do certain protections. In this video, I'll be teaching you 3 protections against demons specifically. I'm not talking about spirits. I'm not talking about that coworker who you think is a demon, because some people don't really know what a demon is. I'll teach about how to counter demons, and like, well, my coworker's a demon. I'm like, no, not your coworker. Something that was an angel that fell out of heaven and basically became fallen. That's what I'm talking about. So, and I'm not gonna say anything extremely specific. I will not give these beings any kind of credit. I won't. I'm not going to tell you who they are. They all have names. They all have names. And I'm not going to name them on this video because they don't deserve that credit. They're going to go to a very specific place when it comes end times, and they're being tortured currently. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know. If you don't know, then there's research out there, because they're not going to get credit in this video. But how does it... And if you think to yourself that demons want to attack me, the more powerful you become spiritually, the stronger you get, and the stronger you grow closer to God, the more you're sought after. The more pure you are, the bigger blessings that are coming to you. They don't care about people who are not seeking blessings. They flat out don't. They just don't care. Those people are not important. If you're extremely spiritually gifted, you're just going to be an automatic target, because a lot of people in this world are not that, I'm not going to say are not that gifted, but a lot of people don't care about their gifts. I'm talking about most of the world. A lot of people just don't care. You'll tell them you're spiritually gifted, and they'll be like, spirituality doesn't exist. That's most of the world. For the people who are spiritually gifted watching my video, then your angels have pointed you to the right place. But when I say most of the world doesn't care about spiritual gifts, like, spiritual gifts, this is not Naruto, and people will make fun of stuff like that, and they're like, okay, this person's asleep. So most people just don't care. I have a little notepad that I'm looking down at here. But you have to understand, we're on this earth with an ancient enemy that we kinda accepted. Now, just like Adam and Eve took a bite from the apple and suffered consequences, humans have done other things in the past, pre-flood, pre-Noah's Ark, that we kinda earned these things being stuck on earth with us. Why aren't we 100% protected from them? It's because our ancient ancestors actually kinda, let's just say I'm not going to say they bargained, but they accepted them. So our karma as humans is knowing why we don't want to accept these beings. Because if we forget about them, then we'll never learn from them. That's why God lets us stay here with these beings, to remind us that the more we move closer to Him is when we'll find more peace. The further we stray from Him, the more they'll move in on us. Now, they can't attack you if you do certain things. Number one, if you move closer to Jesus, if you move closer to God, they really can't do as much as they want to do. About 80% of whatever they want is now cut off, but there is still 20% there. Stones, gemstones, crystals, etc. fill in another gap. That's 10% left, but they'll do the most with the last 10% they can. And another 10% they can start doing a whole bunch with that little 10%. Imagine if they didn't have the rest of that. So the worst case scenario is possession. The least worst case scenario is just attacks. But if you don't know how they attack, then you really don't know. But the number one way that they attack, and from ancient mythology in Chinese culture, they rely on your physical manifestations of hatred or anger or pride or, and I took notes, fear and doubt. So you have anger, sadness, doubt, fear, hatred, and pride. There's a few others in there, but these are also greed. But the most important thing you guys have to know is the anger one. The anger is the most important one because these beings, the way they attack you, and you can't ever see their attacks. They're literally looking at you 24/7. That's the nature of Earth. They're always looking at us. So one thing, guys, and this video is extremely important because I'm going to help you understand that sometimes your emotions are not your own. So in understanding that, it makes us feel a lot better. The first thing they'll possibly try to do is to get you mad. Now, this number one thing, and like I said, no human is sending these. No human can even comprehend how intelligent these things are. But their intelligence is because God gave it to them before they fell. Now, it wasn't a whole bunch of intelligence, but it was a whole bunch compared to what Earth is compared to other realms. Now, the number one way this is the number one way. The other ways are not important because you have to identify this. They can only get in, and assuming you're close to God, assuming that you're doing everything right, they wait for you to get angry. And I would like you to think about that for a second. These beings only can get in. They only can physically manifest after you get angry. And one thing you have to realize is they can't do much until you get angry. Most people never figure this out. It took me a long time to figure this out. So it took me a very long time to figure this out until I've helped several people work past certain attacks. A good example, someone cuts you off in traffic. Let's just say they didn't cut you off that bad. They did not cut you off that bad. But for whatever reason in your head, it seems 100 times worse than whatever it actually was. And now you're like, you think it's the worst day ever. It's like, I can't take this. And then whatever happens after there is going downhill. So let's just say one more thing happens after that. You dropped your cup of coffee, it hit the ground, it broke. Now you're yelling and screaming, and if you got mad at step one, now they can get in. They can't get in until you get angry. Flat out. If you're not a person of God, they can flat out get in. That's just that. They're terrified of Jesus. They're terrified of Jesus. Horrified. The blood of Jesus, it scares them. It makes them cry. It makes them whine. It makes them scream and yell. It's embarrassing for them. It's the worst feelings in the world. It's a reminder to where they're going to go. It's like a taunt. But after assuming you're close to God and moving yourself closer to Jesus, like I said, not everyone watching my video has access to Jesus, but when you ask God to help, you move yourself closer to Him, He'll make a way. So once you're angry, once you feel those feelings of anger, now it can get in. And these things it's not just a random demon. They're all named. There's a list of names out of each one that's waiting for you to get angry. It's a specific set of beings that I can't say because they don't deserve to be said. So after you get angry, then it can do whatever it wants. It emphasizes anger. So I'm going to give you an example. If something really embarrassing happens, it's going to make it seem this demonic entity, or group of demonic entities, because they're literally governed over humans. It's kind of like a karmic thing that humans have to put up with. It's just here because we messed up in the past and we're paying for it as a race. Now, these things, the number one thing you have to know, the number one thing, is they wait for you to get angry. And then they can step in. Their energy can't have a presence unless you get angry. And this is at anything. And sometimes the anger that you'll get is for the dumbest little reason, the most minuscule reason. So let's just say someone repeated themselves twice, and you're like, you don't have to repeat yourself twice. Don't repeat yourself twice to me. And it could be like and you'll have to catch this. This is the catch. You have to catch it. You have to recognize it. So once you're able to catch it, you're like, wait, because this is just for every human, but most humans actually succumb to it. Like I said, if you're more gifted, if you're more gifted, they're targeting you already. Like they're just looking at you already because you're going to be able to perceive them. Someone who's not gifted can't perceive them. They start showing up after someone, and for the people who are away from God, they start doing whatever they want with them. They actually like them. They actually really like them. They make friends with them. They'll make their lives crazy, but they'll be friends with them. And then they'll start showing up as seraphims in their rooms and stuff like that, which happen all the time. But for the people of God, they're just spitting fire. They're like spitting spicy spit. Let's just say that. Spitting spicy spit. Say that 10 times fast. And this video took a lot of prayers to be able to do this video, because this message has to get out perfectly, especially within a certain time period. But that's the thing you have to know. So, and that's the only thing you have to know. The emphasis. This is called the emphasis attack. So the emphasis method. Emphasis. The whole point of this, I'm going to make this nice and easy for you guys, because you're going to take this with you for life. If you're watching this video, you're probably someone very gifted or holding a bunch of potential where your angels got you to watch this video. They emphasize. That's all they can do. It doesn't take much. Sometimes they're just going to send you a short, because they're angry themselves, because they're in chains. They're already in chains. They're hurting. So they just send you a little bit of what they're feeling, and you'll feel it for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, up to an hour. So what do you do when you feel really angry out of nowhere? Because you could be anyone on this planet. They prompt fights. If you ever wonder why fights happen or people yell and scream in public, it's because they're there instigating it. They're here to instigate it. They're here to make the fight happen. That's them on this entire planet. No matter where. Some people might be able to get their names. Sometimes before people get into fights, they actually hear the names in their head. And they're very specific names. These beings have names. And no, you can't imprison them because they're already imprisoned. You can't do anything to bind or keep them away because they are always going to be here. That's our punishment as humans. Now, and if you know who they are, then you know who they are. There's about 200 of them. Now, the thing is, the number one thing that you guys have to understand is they can only, and I'm not going to talk about what happens after anger, because I'm just going to assume that you guys are going to follow this video's advice. So if you're wondering why a random anger pops up, it's not just you. That's not your emotions. They telepathically send you what they're feeling. But most humans don't know that. Most people don't learn this their entire lifetimes. So they send you a little bit of the anger and pain that they feel. And what will happen afterwards is you'll get angry. You'll feel like you're having a bad day, and everything in that day will go downwards. So if one thing that happens, it'll seem like it's the end of the world. Another thing they'll do after they're in, the second thing they'll do is they'll take away your ability to look at the bigger picture. So if you're on track for success, but maybe you're facing a few losses, they'll make it feel like the few losses that you're feeling are eternity. They'll make you question God. Well, no one can make you question God, but they'll want to make you question God. They'll want to make you feel like you're doing something wrong. They'll want to make you feel like you're being cursed. But all of this is just because they're emphasizing certain emotions. That's just an ancient enemy, and they only can get in if you allow them to get you angry. If you're someone who's good at shaking anger off, you don't really have to worry as much. Then they'll just go to someone around you to try to make them angry. They're like whack-a-mole. So if you can't get mad and that's the thing, once you know this, it's like, oh, because sometimes, and this will happen to me, I'll just wake up, I'll read something, and I'll feel a certain emotion. I'm like, okay, this is not mine. I know what this is. I'll wait 5 minutes. The feeling goes away. I'm like, okay, cool. I feel amazing. I was at 98%, now I'm at 100%. Yeah! And I've been teaching this to people who have been getting attacked. Because, like I said, this is an ancient adversary that no human knows how to name. And coming from someone who works with angels, this is just something that's always been out there. This is not going to be taught by most. This won't be exposed by most. This is not anything exposing anything. It's just people are afraid of it being real, so they just dodge it. Ignoring it doesn't fix it. But they'll wait for you to get angry. They'll try to make one day seem like a crazy day. If you drop coffee, now it seems like the end of the world. If you ripped your clothes, they're going to make it seem like they're going to add panic and stress and all these different... They'll actually, after they get into the anger, then they have a series, because I'm just keeping this video short. If you'd like a part 2, I can do a part 2. But after they get into the anger, they'll add sadness. They'll make you sad or ashamed. They'll add doubt. They'll add fear. They'll add hatred. They'll add a certain level of pride. I can do this by myself. I don't need any help. Well, they'll add greed. So when a blessing does come your way, it's like, finally, it's mine. It's like, no, I'm not sharing that. Like, they'll start adding stuff. So depends on who you are in your situation or what you're susceptible to. But let's just say after they access the anger, they'll access the doubt aspect of yourself. They'll just go to whatever's easiest to access. So let's just say you're doubting yourself a little bit. Now that little bit, if you doubted yourself 1%, now you're doubting yourself about 60%. And now you just want to give up. Which is really unfortunate, because some people have. When I say give up, some people just want to give up after this. They'll prompt people to do certain things. So if they can't get into the doubt, they'll add fear. They'll make you feel scared for your life. They'll make you feel ungrounded. They'll make you like tremble and shake. Because they got into the anger, they got into the upset aspect. So sometimes if they can't get into the upset aspect, they'll get into fear instead. They'll emphasize fear, and then after fear, they'll get into other things. So it can be out of order sometimes. It's always usually anger. Even if you're not an angry person, they'll find something to get you upset about. So anger, upset, interchangeable words. Then they'll want you to hate stuff. Because these are beings that actually asked God for forgiveness in a certain time period. You know, when you access the Akashic record, what you don't need to do for this one, you'll actually find out these things asked God for forgiveness, and God said, no, you won't be able to hear, your screams won't be, I will not be able to hear your screams in hell. Simple as that. And they cried, and they were hateful, they were mad at each other, they were mad at everything but themselves. Well, not everything but themselves, but everything in general, etc. You know what I'm trying to say. So there's a whole other class of demons that you guys, because now I'm going to start teaching a little more about demons and their weaknesses, because you can't just ignore them. Usually I just ignore demons because my angels usually take care of them. Most importantly, the Most High God and Jesus Christ takes care of them. But people don't understand that. So I have to teach this. I'll teach about weak spots in your house that they can attack next. So what's a one way to... And this video applies only to if you're moving yourself closer to God. Because why would God let these beings be here? One, because of our karma, but two, the closer you get to Jesus, the closer you get to God, the less they seem to be able to do. It's like, oh, that worked like magic. That's it. That's it. But after, if you want to close up the other 20%, the 10%, crystals. What kind of crystal? And these are beings who can override people's guides, by the way. I'll talk about this in the future. These beings, no matter who you are, they can override your guides temporarily. Because that's just that. They can. They're the ones who taught being able to connect to people's guides. They're the ones who taught mediumship and etc. So if they want to crack in for a second, and you'll have to be able to discern messages of light and not messages of light. So the one crystal against this being is black tourmaline. They can't stand it. The next crystal is bloodstone. It literally represents the blood of Jesus. It was the crystal under his cross at the time of his crucifixion. A green jasper was a stone under him. And legends say that when his blood hit the ground, it changed the ground, and it came up with a new stone that reproduced in the ground. I believe that because God is God. And if he wants to make a new stone that has a certain energy, then he will. The next crystal is meteorite, because this has the force energy of the heavens. Not tektite, not moldavite, meteorite, like meteor iron. It sends the energy of heaven at them so fast, it stunts any attack. It stunts it like I'm not going to use one of my examples. It stunts it like a teenager smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. My YouTube shorts. Maybe I'll teach that in my shorts, but you have to understand that when you're getting attacked, just know everything's going to be okay. But they do manifest physical symptoms that I can't talk about on YouTube, such as they'll start making your head hurt. It might be the right side, it might be the center, but it'll be a pressure on the head, and it will become like the worst spiritual headache you've ever had in your whole life. Disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor. That's not a medical statement. This is a spiritual statement. So, a spiritual headache. There we go. But this is something you guys have to know. This is, I haven't talked about this that much before because I was mainly ignoring it because it doesn't really get to me. But I notice it will get to people around you or close to you. Because these are beings that people can't send. These are beings that are just here. They're underground. They're not in hell. They're in the ground. They're under the Euphrates River. And you guys have to read your Bible. So, and trying to change, heaven's what you perceive of it. Hell is what you perceive of it. No, it's not. They're physical places. They're actually physical places. They're spiritual places as well, but with spiritual dimensions, but they're physical places. I seem to be the only angelologist teaching truth on YouTube. I don't mind, because the world has to have at least one person to train a set of people to move closer to God and teach the truth. So much fluff in the world. You guys are getting truth with my videos. Luckily, you don't really have anything to worry about if you're doing everything right. And if you're someone doing bad here and there, and God doesn't like ugly. He doesn't like bad. He doesn't like when people treat each other bad. So for the people of God who put other people down, God will allow your guides to let certain things hit you because it's karma. It's karmic. So you learn to not be mean again, so you have those protections there. It's not to punish you, it's to make you a better person. What an interesting world we live in. What a seriously interesting world. I'm going to make a video about... I have some more videos to talk about because being further into the Akashic records, we're getting close to end times. Closer than you guys think. And more prophecies that are interchangeable and when they happen are being revealed to humans. This is some seriously interesting stuff. The whole point is, if this happens to you, and here's another thing too. If you have no protections and you're afraid of this, tie red strings on both hands. If you don't have any crystals or anything, scarlet red. It represents the blood of Jesus. I would put 3 knots into it. You can also do it around your ankles. And these beings are a whole lot less to attack. A whole lot more less likely to attack you. Don't be scared, because like I said, they go off of fear. They want to seem bigger than they are. They're in a whole lot of pain underground. Well, this video is getting your mind open on what's actually out there. I can't teach all love and light videos because when end times happen, it's going to be so undeniable. And people are going, those stories were true. Well, they were true. They've always been true. When Jesus died on the cross, people didn't believe he died on the cross when it was directly in front of them. They wanted to touch it. People have a tough time believing the truth because it's easy to make the truth into what it's not because it's easier to accept. But you really can't change the truth, and you're going to find nothing but truth on my channel. Move yourselves closer to God. Become the highest version of yourself you possibly can. If you're energetically clean, you're going to be fine. You have nothing to worry about. Only thing you have to worry about is these beings will try to attack people around you after they realize they can't attack you. If you're of God, they can't attack you. If you're not doing anything bad, they can't attack you. If you're using crystals, certain things to counter them, they can't attack you. But they'll reach the people in public. When you walk out in public, people around you will fight each other. They'll argue and yell and scream. Or crazy stuff will happen, but it won't come near you. It'll be around you because they're trying to reach you. About your car's extended warranty. But you guys have nothing to fear. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. This is a sensitive topic, but I can't not teach it because it's something that has to get taught. No one's going to be able to, well, most YouTubers will not teach this. It's too sensitive. It's too scary. It's like, oh, it's scary. You can't talk about that. Well, it does not fix it by not talking about it. I've ignored it for several years, and this is not helping people who might be under attack. Just because I'm doing well doesn't mean I won't teach it. Because some people are not doing well specifically because they're around. You don't get angry, you move yourself closer to God, you use crystals, you use the red string, you cleanse yourself spiritually, you have nothing to worry about. If they try to attack people nearby for you, you simply pray for them. And you educate them and you move them closer to God, or you don't react to their anger. You tell them, hey, you can tell them like, hey, this anger is not your own. And this, for the people who they have tried to attack around me, I've told them, I'm like, hey, I'm going to tell you about an ancient enemy, and this anger is not your own. And they kind of thought about it. They're like, you're right. It's actually not that bad. So, like I said, they can only use your anger as a physical manifestation because your anger actually physically manifests a particle of energy in your aura, which they can kind of grab and manipulate and use. And they can even move stuff around with it. So, don't get angry. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment sections. If you have any questions at all, ask them in the comment section. It's one of the most important videos I've ever taught. If you have any questions, guys, ask them in the comment section. This is an amazing video. I'm very happy I made this video. This is through the Lord that I made this video. God allows me to make this video to help people because I could have made this video incorrectly. But the amount of experience I have from helping people, this is going to help so many different people. This is going to help a lot of people. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!